This is going to be in Algebra 1. We're going to be reviewing today sections 7.1 through 7.3. And I just got to say, this is probably the coldest video I've ever recorded. It's minus 23 right now with a wind chill of 52 degrees below zero. And so I'm glad that you guys are safe and hopefully inside and able to watch these videos today. And we will connect back together when we get back at school. But just be aware of the fact it is going to be very, very cold with wind gusts of 20 miles an hour. And you can compute the wind chill index just to give you an idea about that if you wanted to do that. All right, well, let's take a look at our lesson for today. We're going to be solving systems by 4 methods: graphing by hand, using a graphing calculator, substitution, and elimination. And I really want to emphasize this first point as we're going through these, because you're going to be able to find that substituting and elimination can be very straightforward, but graphing is just as easy. So let's take a look at our first problem, solving by graphing by hand. And Tabitha, if you were working through this, you could identify on this first problem that our slope on this first problem is -1. And Isabel, I'm sure you could easily also qualify that the y-intercept is 2. So let's start at the value 2. And then Shiloh, if I was with you today, I would be saying, which way do we go with a slope of -1? And you would probably respond over 1 and down 1. And then Gabe, as we're going through that, you would probably then be able to tell you need to continue those dots all the way through your graph to both directions as we're working it all the way through to be as accurate as possibly can. And so, Clara, make sure you remember when you're drawing this line that you draw it through all the points and that you put arrows at both ends. So that's our first line. Now let's change colors for our second line. And Elijah, I'm going to say, hey, what's the slope of this second line? And we're going to look for the value in front of the x, which is 1/2. And then Daniel, the y-intercept here, I'm sure you could pick up, would be -4. So our starting off point, Isaiah, is going to be at -4. So we're going to go down to -4 on our graph. And then Ella, what is our slope here again? 1/2, yeah. And so we're going to go up 1 and over 2 in each direction. Now, just now I crossed over the blue line. And while I'm going to continue to draw this line in both directions, I've really found the answer. I've really found where these two graphs cross. And so if all it asks us for is to find the solution, you did find the solution. And I'm going to identify this in a green dot. And Adeline, you could tell me what that green dot was if we were together. But the solution is going to be the point for that green dot. So it's really important to identify that point. And so, Olivia, you notice we're going to go over 4. So the x value is 4 and down 2. So do these two graphs cross? Yes, they do. They cross in one point because the slopes are different. And that's all the reason that we have for them to cross, is just the slopes are different. And where do they cross? They cross at 4, 2. All right. Well, that kind of finishes up the first example. And so let's look down at our second example.